What is it that you want exactly, Santa?
I want you to let this family go. And then I want to find my reindeer and I want to continue delivering my presents.
How has no one done that before? It was right there.
Santa Claus is coming to town.
I am the most complete fighter in the world.
Yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker.
You can call it the art of fighting without fighting.
Stick around. Some motherfuckers are always trying to ice skate uphill.
Dodge this.
Ho, ho, ho. Merry birthday? You'll see. Welcome to episode 24 of Dodge This Action Movies Unleashed. It's definitely Christmas time, and we've got a very Christmas-themed episode. Eventually, we are going to be talking about Violent Night. But before we do that, Simon, in the future, when you're editing this, insert a fanfare noise now. Matthew Heighton is back.
Hey, woohoo. I'm excited.
Thanks, he did his own fanfare.
Yeah, why not? You know what? You get to a point in life and you can't wait for other people to hype you up or do your fanfares. You just got to do your own.
That's absolutely fair, actually. Yeah, you just got to believe in the product of Matthew Heighton and let it speak for itself.
Yeah.
It's an absolute treat to have you back, mate. Thanks for remembering little old Dodge This.
Oh,
Where? Oh, wait. Also, I should say that the merry birthday little misdirect at the top was because as you listen to this, it's also Matthew Heighton's birthday. That's quite exciting, isn't it? Between now, which is now when we're recording, and now, which is now when you're listening to this, he has been birthed.
I have been reborn.
Happy birthday also.
Oh, thank you. And given my availability and schedule, maybe it's Simon's birthday as well. We don't know.
In fairness, my birthday is at the end of this month. I'm hoping we can get in one before the new year. But we'll see. We're both December birthdays. So send all the fan mail and presents ASAP. Thank you. Matt, where in the goddamn hell have you been and what have you been doing?
Well, I can't talk about a lot of the stuff I've been doing, but I have been doing exciting stuff, which, again, as soon as I'm allowed, I will talk about it. But generally, just been very busy doing some really fun filming stuff and, just living life, being out there on the old plains, watching the sunrises, watching the sunset, sleeping with one eye open. Really. Right,
this is as bad as when I make you send me a voice note to tell us where you are and what you're doing. You've come back and you've given us less information than all of the voice notes. I mean, I hope when the big reveal comes, people are excited about it. But let's just say you've been very busy and industrious.
Yeah.
Now, you've had a bit of bloody time off there. You've had all this time doing nothing, twiddling your old thumbs. Probably consuming loads of media, watching stuff. Have you done exactly that? Have you consumed some media? Have you got some hot recommends for the listeners?
have watched stuff, but I've been mainly watching TV stuff because I've been sort of creeping in either a half hour or an hour when I can.
Gotcha.
But recently I have been watching a fair few films.
Okay.
I finally watched The Adam Project.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's been on my list since it came out. Also, I'm going to say I'm never going to watch it at this point.
You know what? Easy watch. Very easy. It's got that sort of, you'd enjoy it when you're a kid. Flight of the Navigator, but a bit more grown up sort of feel.
As soon as you say Flight of the Navigator, I'm like, I probably might watch it now, actually, because that's held a special place in my heart. I have been watching Ryan Reynolds in Welcome to Wrexham, actually. It's important to always be supporting Ryan Reynolds at every opportunity.
Do you know what? There's a reason he's getting a lot of work. He seems very lovely.
He seems like a nice guy.
If you're listening, Ryan, you seem very nice. But I mean, the big thing, which I will happily talk to anyone about in depth forever, is Andor. I am so obsessed with how good Andor is that I just can't. There's generally points in my day. I finished it on the day the finale ended. So what's that? At least 2 or 3 weeks now.
Right, because they were
days
drip feeding it, right? It wasn't all at once.
Yeah,
it was
yeah.
weekly.
Which
okay.
Normally I hate, but I think in a weird way this was to its like it's
the opposite of detriment.
Yeah, I was trying to think of that exact word. To its detriment. Yeah. So yeah, I think it did it a lot of like favors in terms that it got a lot of people talking and excited. But I mean,
yeah,
you always know there's a scope when there's a universe that big, like the Star Wars universe, the scope for it to go sort of anything really. But to see like such high drama in such a very efficient, beautiful way was just incredible. And like a lot of people like on the internet were like, oh, it's very slow. Opposite. I thought it was so perfectly paced. I could literally nerd about this forever.
Well, I have it queued up, but I haven't even started it yet. I was waiting to finish everything else on my plate before starting a brand new series.
Don't bother.
So
Don't bother.
just bin everything else and start it.
It's amazing. It's the best Star Wars has ever been.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm very excited to watch it, and I'm not a not Star Wars fan, but I'm not a fanboy.
But I think that's why it's so good, is because regardless of where you fall in that sort of whole Star Wars universe, it just is very good TV. It's really good. It's like the Succession of Star Wars.
Oh wow! Oh hello. Okay, the Succession of Star Wars.
It's got that sort of level of writing and drama to it.
It's like
times.
HBO Star Wars.
Yeah, exactly that. And because it ties into Rogue One, which I absolutely love, it's great.
And that's got Donnie Yen in it, just to bring it back.
It does have Donnie Yen. I rewatched Rogue One after Andor because...
Do I need to? Oh, okay, you did it the opposite way around. Okay.
I would say you don't need to. I'd say, if anything, watch it afterwards and then just remind yourself how good, that film is in places. It's really great. Really enjoy it.
All right. Well, it's queued up, mate. So rest assured, I'm not going to make any promises by the next podcast, but I am going to watch it. I am going to watch it. Meanwhile, the thing that I have been clattering through...
Is it Gangs of London?
It's Gangs of London series 2. Yeah, it's Gangs
so
of
many
London
people keep
2.
talking to me about this and saying how good it is. And I just don't go around to it. I knew you'd be smashing it.
Well, I don't want to be the bearer of bad news, but I didn't love season 2. It's... I don't know anyone else that's watched it, so I haven't been able to discuss it with anyone. But season 1 was Gareth Evans of The Raid. You know, like he directed a whole bunch of those episodes. And this season, he's not involved. And it just shows, it sort of pitched itself as like, it's this drama with amazing action in season 1. And I don't want to speak for everyone, but it feels like the whole thing of it was this show's got amazing action in it. And then for season 2, it feels like they've sort of just not playing to those strengths. I don't know. It has some action in it and some of it's all right.
I got a trailer for it today.
The trailer made it look really good.
See, I think the opposite. I think the season 2 trailer, from what everyone's told me about season 1, season 2 just seems like really hammy, like, who's going to get London? It feels very American for something called Gangs of London.
I just think it sort of didn't really know what it wanted to be in season 2, where season 1, while it did, I think it lost its way a little bit towards the end. And, they kind of like shot their load at episode 5, this incredible like shootout in a house. And then it never quite reached that height after that. And I feel like season 2 kind of picked up on that and went, what if we just mainly do the drama stuff? And it was like, aren't we all just here for the amazing action? Do you not remember all the memorable stuff from season 1?
But again, I think that's probably you're there for that. But I think TV viewers regularly are there for the drama.
Maybe, yeah. Maybe.
I'll give it a watch at some point. Maybe.
Yeah, I mean, watch season 1 because I think that is very enjoyable. And for a TV show, like the action is my chef's kiss. Also, we watched the trailer for this, I think, a while back. Warriors of Future.
Yeah, we did get a trailer for that for a while back.
A sort of Chinese mech action robot future thing. Do you remember that?
It's something I'd watch, something I didn't think you'd watch.
Yeah. Well, I did watch it, Matthew, because I know you're busy. Because it's like a fully Hong Kong movie, and I was excited that like, oh, there's still like big things are coming out of Hong Kong. And also I'd heard that it was a sort of allegorical tale of Chinese interference, which it pretty much is. And it is enjoyable, and the CG in it is really good, but as a whole, fine. It's fine.
Oh.
Yeah. There is some enjoyable bits of CG, but there are some action sequences that do just make it look like a video game cutscene, which maybe will sell it to you more.
No.
I read a review on Letterboxd that said something like, this looks like they wanted to make a video game, but the Chinese government wouldn't let them, so they made it a movie instead. I think that is a really, really on the nail. Yeah, but it's on Netflix, so everyone can watch it now. So that's a bit of fun, isn't it? You know what, Matthew?
Yeah.
There's some bloody movies coming out in the future.
There are some movies coming out in the future.
And while we can't watch those movies, we can watch a collection of pieces of those movies set to evocative music. Is that something I can interest you in?
Not the way you've sold it.
Too creepy? Too creepy.
Yeah.
Should we have a look at some trailers?
Yeah, that's a better way of saying it.
It looks like I've been shot in the nose with an air rifle.
I think that's where you should come back into the podcast.
It's like a really Partridge thing to say.
It really is. It's great. Keep that in.
Just drove the Ford Cortina into a lake. You're listening to Dodge This. All right, there's a big trailer that's dropped. I think this week. It was just a few days ago. It definitely popped into my periph. And I think we would be remiss not to start with this one. It's Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny. When this popped up, I was like, is this real? Or is this like a fan trailer? Or what is this? And then I played it. And then at the end, I was like, I'm still not 100% sure if this is real.
Did you not realise it was coming?
I feel like I'd heard like a few little bits of chatter.
Oh, it's been hyped loads.
Oh.
I mean, like, it's hyped loads, but we all remember Crystal Skull.
Well, I haven't seen it, and I think it shall remain that way.
Yeah, it's the best way. I mean, this looks a lot better than Crystal Skull, but
yeah,
already in this trailer, everything that I was worried about is kind of present in this trailer.
Oh, no.
So I am very excited about it because I do think they'll probably have learned their lesson from Crystal Skull and the feedback and everything else. I think we might get a really nice indie film that gives him a nice send-off, or at least, adds to his legacy, opposed to the other way, which I think it's never going to be the original trilogy, but if it takes the taste of Crystal Skull out of the mouth, so that isn't the last Indiana Jones film,
right?
I'm very happy for that. I'm already worried that it is old man Indy is running around and on horses and stuff, which, fine, he's got to do a bit of action.
He is old. I love Harrison Ford, but he is old, and he looks old. And every single shot of him doing any action in the trailer looks like a video game, or they've just like comped his face onto a stuntman.
This is my really weird problem with it, because Indiana Jones as and I won't go too deep into this, but as a legacy film, as a send-off film, it's got a really easy setup because they have Last Crusade, which is obviously about his dad is the older version of what his young person is, but also trying to, whilst live up to the hype and bravado of all his younger self, he is trying to help Indy learn from his mistakes. And like, that's the interesting...
Junior!
Yeah. But do you know what I mean? Like, the thing with Indy's dad was he couldn't do all the fast stuff that Indiana could do. Indiana had all the testosterone and the youth, and he was more sort of savvy and wily, even though he still had all that echoing in him.
Can open his umbrella on a beach and all the birds make the plane crash.
Exactly.
He's smart. He uses his smarts.
Exactly. And that's what you want to see from Indiana Jones now. You want to see how much has he learned? How much has he grown? How much has he living in the past and the regrets? I think if they play with that, you got a great film, and I absolutely will watch it opening week. Can't wait.
Yeah. I hope it's good. It doesn't seem like, and this is maybe what they tried to do with Crystal Skull. Were they trying to set up Shia LaBeouf as the kind of to take the mantle as like a junior Jones?
Yeah.
and that didn't really work.
They absolutely were, yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't look like there's anyone who's like his protege in this. You know, you got Phoebe Waller-Bridge, delighted, happily watch her in anything. But is she like the adventurer that's going to kind of take over? Is there another person who's doing the main adventuring?
It's his niece or his goddaughter, I think. It's in the trailer. But anyway, I think regardless, because we'll absolutely watch it and we'll absolutely chat about it.
Bloody watch it, aren't we? Although
what's next, mate? What's bloody next?
I didn't watch Crystal Skull.
Okay, this one. Look, I had to put this in because it's so on brand for the podcast. It's Michael Jai White in As Good as Dead. Did you watch this trailer, Matthew?
I did watch this trailer. This trailer did nothing for me. Absolutely nothing for me.
I want to give Michael Jai White his dues, right? This dude is an incredible screen presence and fighter. He has been in some very good movies. He's been in Accident Man, not a couple of years ago. He was, of course, in Undisputed 2. He's very good on screen. He's just in so many bad films that it's frustrating. And every time a new trailer comes out, I'm like, okay, this is going to be the one where it doesn't look like he's just doing rubbish karate and they're really showing off what he can do. And this is not that trailer.
But this is everything about this plot beats of this trailer annoyed me. I hated everything that the characters, all the choices they made in a sort of minute. So I was like, imagine that.
I will say he also wrote the script for this, I noticed. So I'm rooting for it in that, like, oh, good. Like he's got this movie made and it's maybe a passion project of his. But boy, I hope it's better than the trailer.
But maybe, again, you don't know how far they are in post. You don't know where they're up to. So I'd say let's not judge. I mean, if he's written it, because he is an action stalwart, that puts me in a lot more, this I'm rooting for this a lot more, and this gives me the faith that it probably is better than that trailer sells it. Yeah. But maybe he's doing that. Maybe he's doing that thing where he doesn't want to give too much away in the trailer. So we don't know. Absolutely, we'll watch it. Not holding my breath, waiting for it to come out.
A few episodes ago when me and Joe talked about Accident Man 2. We were talking about movie budgets a lot and throwing around numbers that were just sort of like guesswork, basically. And I was thinking, Accident Man 2 was made for like 7 million or something. And then a few weeks later, I found out that the budget was under 2 million, basically. And then I was like, holy shit. Actually, that is very impressive to get. So I imagine like the budget for this is less. It's just like so tiny. That's why everything is just on like a nondescript ranch somewhere in California, probably. It doesn't look like any of it's shot in Estonia or wherever the cheapest place to shoot is. I don't know. Maybe it is.
But again, like this is where, because budget gets eaten so fast on a film, and when it's an action film, there's so much more you need to adhere to and to hit. So that's why indie action films are really bloody hard to do. It's like One Shot. I always think about One Shot and how well that was done, because they knew what they were doing. They were containing it and they were moving through it. And I think that's. And
I want to know what the budget was for One Shot. And James Nunn, if you're listening, drop us a little DM. Let us know. Yeah. We won't tell the distributors. Well, actually, we could just ask Scott Adkins, because he seems to be quite open about these sorts of things, which I find very refreshing, is how open he is talking about how difficult it is.
I think people should be open about, especially, not bottom end's the wrong word, like indie filmmaking specifically. People should be open about it, because it's such an achievement to do anything, but to do anything interesting and to do anything with ambition is incredible. It's absolutely incredible. Like I always think about One Shot as my go-to for the sort of film that I think, wow, you knew exactly what you're doing and you delivered that really well. And if you had 5-6 more million, oh my God, what would that film have been? But you didn't, and you just fucking went for it. And that's what I think about any filmmakers now. Everything, the technology is there. It's in your pocket. Like if you want to make a film, you just got to be creative sometimes. And that's what you hope when you see something like this, especially now, you know, Guy Ennis wrote it. So, you know, it's a passion project. So you hope that they go, right, don't have enough to do this, this, and this. What do I know? I know action. I know stunts. So you hope they bring all that and they put it in, and just somehow the story and the characters keep you flowing along. That's all you can ask for in an indie film. I think if you get more than just a fine film at the end of it, you've already done exponentially better than so many 40 billion pound films or whatever you want.
True story. Yeah, you're right. I think that like the longer we do this pod, and the more you get into like watching lower budget movies, and the more you just sort of learn about like the practicalities of filmmaking and the comparisons of budgets, you're just kind of like, yeah, actually just getting a movie made is like, obviously it's a boring podcast if we're just like, well, good on them. They got a movie made for an hour. But, you know, it is so difficult to get stuff made.
But again, on the other side of indie filmmaking and that exact model, fuck me, there's some dog shit.
Of course.
It's some absolute dog shit.
Yeah.
It's just the way it is. So anyway,
both of these things prove how hard it is to make a movie. Right, let's crack on, because there's more randomness. Knights of the Zodiac. What do you know about this? You know about animation. This came out of nowhere, maybe.
Well, one, it's not animated, so...
No, but it's based on an animated thing, you rascal.
I've never seen it. I've heard of... I've seen it doing the rounds. I get the sense it's got that sort of Percy Jackson vibe. So yeah, I don't know.
Jackson.
I don't know enough about
I
this.
would say that's a deep cut, but I feel like it's quite a popular franchise that I just haven't seen.
Yeah, but I think it's just one of those things. I think there's definitely an audience for this out there, and there's a fan base, which sometimes is to its detriment, sometimes to its detriment, which we know is the opposite.
We know the opposite. When the trailer started, I was like, what is this? And then Mark Dacascos popped up, and I was like, I'm listening. And then there was a few little sort of people popped up, and there was a few little tasty bits of fight action in there. And then it turns out Andy Cheng's doing the action. And I'm like, okay, is this going to be secretly quite good? Like sneak in a sort of
Sony project.
Maybe it's got over 2 million budget. It's all up there on the screen.
I can tell you just off the effects, it's definitely got over 2 million budget. Yeah, I don't know anything about it. I imagine it's going to be one of those things that comes and is suddenly everywhere. And
well, I don't know if it's going to go. I mean, the animation was on Netflix, so I don't know if this is going to go STN straight to Netflix. But I'm interested. Anything that Mark Dacascos pops up in these days, apart from Iron Chef, I'm like, yeah, all right. What's Mark up to? He still looks like he's 35, even though he's definitely about 55.
I don't know. Let's
Siri, how old is Mark Dacascos? I've turned it off. It's on silent recording a podcast because I'm a professional.
Mark Dacascos was born on February 26, 1964 in Honolulu, Hawaii, and is 58 years old.
We got one more trailer.
Which is straight to Netflix. It's straight to Netflix.
Which is very exciting because we can all watch it with glee on day dot. It's the new movie from Timo, I'm going to say his name wrong, I'm sorry, Chajanto. I've listened to him interviewed on another podcast recently, and he probably said it a lot. It's the dude who directed arguably one of the goriest, slashiest, bloodiest action martial arts movies ever, The Night Comes For Us, which popped up on Netflix a few years ago. Matt, have you seen that, first of all?
I bloody love that film.
Also Headshot, which I know you have seen recently.
Yeah. But I love The Night Comes For Us. I absolutely bloody love that film.
That is a genre classic, and I know, like, when that came out, people lost their minds about it.
Yeah, it was great. It was everything that every week I would watch that sort of film for this podcast. Every week. That was The Night Comes For Us was like tick, 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 tick for me. I remember I texted you before we did this, asking if you'd seen it.
Did you?
Yeah.
Oh, that's very good. Yes. I got to go back and check those texts. And I replied, of course I have, Matthew. I want to do a podcast about action movies.
I think probably that's how it all started.
But
yeah,
fair play, actually.
I'll say two things to this trailer.
Let's go.
I feel like I've seen this film a million times before. I think it's that mad sort of, here's a wacky bunch of characters in a situation.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I have no idea what's going on in this film from the trailer, but I feel like I've seen a lot of this film in the trailer.
Yes.
I couldn't tell you. Everything attached to this film says, yes, I'm going to love it and I'm going to watch it.
Yeah.
Everything about that trailer makes you go, I don't know.
Right. Well, when the teaser came out, it was sort of, I don't think it had quite as much action in it. And they were pitching it more as a bit of a comedy. And then you're like, oh, they've sort of gone, if we give you some Netflix money, can you tone this all down? And then this trailer came out and I was like, oh no, it looks like a lot of people getting fucked up in a myriad of ways in this movie.
Well, there's so much is going on in this trailer because I watched all 4 trailers back to back, literally about half an hour ago. Nice. Midway through that trailer, thought that I'd started a new trailer.
Right. There's a lot going on.
I was generally like, am I confusing two of the films? Because it starts in like, what, an orphanage or something? I couldn't really do it. And then it's suddenly on an island. And I was just like, I don't know where I am with this film. Which makes me more excited because, like I love Bullet Train. It's that sort of vibe. I love
You're right. It has.
Mad.
It's got a real caper vibe and it's got a real freeze frame. Name of character on the screen.
Yeah.
Is Martin the electrician? You know why they call him that, right?
Yeah.
It's got that. Not that Guy Ritchie invented that. Or maybe he did, but it's got that sort of vibe. And I hope that Timo, with his very unique sensibility, is going to sort of inject it with some mad batshitness that we all expect from him.
I think he's safe hands in it. So let's just watch.
Yeah. I feel like the night comes for us. We're like ran on the mantra like more is more better is more, just more, do more, bigger, more.
But I mean that film feels like someone goes, I don't know properly how to drive, but I know where the pedals are, and then they put the foot on the pedal and it just goes till the car stops.
Yes, one of these stops and one of these makes it go 100 miles an hour, and I'll work out which one is which.
Yeah.
I gotta watch it. Yeah, I mean, I'm obviously gonna watch this. It's Timo. He's great, and it's a great local action movie. Yeah,
can't wait. Can I just check before we finish trailers?
Yeah,
have you covered Plane and John Wick 4?
Yes, both of those we talked about last episode with Nick.
I assume so because they're both out recently, but they were my trailers today, so I thought I'd just check.
But I feel like Plane took quite a lot of stick last episode for. I was like, this looks like a great meat and two veg, high concept 1990s movie. And Nick was not quite as kind. Did you have any thoughts or anything you wanted to add about Plane?
I just think like someone went, you know how good Con Air is? Well,
we're not going to be able to match that.
Imagine Con Air was like Lost, but worse. Yeah, I didn't do anything for me. Do anything for me. I'm not going to go. I think
I just had a little warm-heartedness because it felt old-fashioned, I think. But the bottom line is I'll probably watch it and be like, eh. And the John Wick 4 trailer obviously looks amazing and I can't wait.
Yeah. 100%.
That's the précis that you missed last episode. Spoiler, reader, Matthew does not listen to the episodes, even the ones he's not in.
I should listen to the ones I'm not in. I'll never listen to the ones I'm in because you know this about me. Can't stand the sound of my own voice.
That is fair, actually. Now, before we exit the trailer arena, there is a new Transformers movie, and I did watch the trailer.
Beast Wars.
What the fuck is happening in the world of Transformers?
They've finally put Beast Wars into the Transformer film franchise.
That's like a Transformer spin-off thing.
Yeah.
Franchise
they
toy.
have all sorts of animals and The Dinobots aren't the same because that's Grimlock and stuff. But yeah, they've got like, there was a whole, I think it was a 2000s reboot where they did Beast Wars. So they put Beast Wars into the franchise.
So this is part of Transformers lore. They're not just like coming out of this out of
100%
nowhere.
canon.
Okay. Well, the real fans won't be disappointed. That's
genuinely the first time I've been excited about a Transformers film since before I'd seen how bad the original Transformers film was.
Oh, I watched the original one in the cinema and liked it. And even the sequel, I think, is okay. But
went to a
midnight
midnight showing of the Transformers because I was so excited about it coming out. And then as soon as there's a fucking Autobot tiptoeing around a house sponsoring Mountain Dew stuff, and then and I've only seen this once, and it's burnt into me. They put so much effort into making that Transformer creep around a house, a fucking truck-sized robot going, and then they clearly burnt so much of the CGI and budget on that. It's like 72 hours to render a second of Transformers, and they crept around that fucking house, and then they cut away from a fight because they clearly didn't have anything left in them. I can't go into it.
Okay, all I remember is that his character name is Sam Witwicky.
That can't be true.
That's true. His name is Sam Witwicky. Because his dad's a professor, right?
Rough Rider.
Oh boy. All right, that's the end of the trailers. We can't spend any more time talking about Transformers until it comes out, and Matt turns out he absolutely loves it. It's time.
Beast Wars is going to save the franchise.
Simon, in the future, start the Sleigh Bells overture that goes over the top of the intro to our feature presentation.
And now, our feature presentation.
Dodge this.
Now, talking of keeping it topical, obviously it's Christmas. You've just watched these trailers, but I think this is the most hot off the press recording we've done. This movie has been out, I think, for less than a week, but we both saw it today, which is also my way of excusing any lack of research or background that I haven't had time to do as we discuss the movie. I don't
think we're going to have time to get into the research and background. There's so much in this film to talk about.
Okay. Well, let's start at the beginning. It's called Violent Night.
Which straight away, how has no one done that before? It was right there.
I know, right? I think there maybe is like a movie from the 80s or something called like Silent Night, Violent Night or something. Yeah. I refuse to believe this hasn't been used in some capacity.
Should I do a live IMB?
Please do.
IMB. I
Not
don't use the
IMBD.
IMDb. I use the Internet Movie Base now.
Beta days.
Yeah. Oh, there's Violent Night, the movie, 2011, Violent Night, 2020, Violent Night, Goodbye. But they're the only ones coming up top hits.
How about that? Okay. Well, as it turns out, actually quite recently, this has been used. Nonetheless, we've clearly not seen any of those or even heard of them, such that when this came out, we were like, well, that's actually a great idea. You have nailed it. And what is the pitch? Oh, it's Santa. Santa is murdering a lot of people.
That is not the pitch. The pitch is everything that this pitch should have been. They said, imagine a heartfelt Hallmark Christmas film, but Santa fucking kicks ass. That was the pitch. It was that simple. They've got so many good, cheesy Christmas tropes in this film. It's like the only film, because I was thinking about this for hours now, the only film I can think that's done something similar with this is Gremlins. It's the only one that keeps coming back, where you have all that sincerity and all that sort of Christmasiness underneath it.
I forget Gremlins is a cheeky Christmas movie, isn't it?
Yeah, it absolutely is. And it plays like the certain films I love from my childhood that now I love even more because they're so played so straight and done so well that I didn't understand that they weren't the genre I thought they were. So I didn't understand Gremlins or Ghostbusters were horrors, were comedies, sorry. I thought they were like horrors or supernatural stuff.
Yeah.
But you don't see it. And with this is what I love about Violent Night. They're doing exactly the same thing. They've gone, what is like a Santa Claus or an elf or some sort of that sort of film, but Santa is like gets into a rumble, and it's amazing.
I was having this like internal debate with myself throughout this movie as to what genre this movie is, and I don't know why. I don't know why I need to pigeonhole it. I think I sort of noted myself on it in a way where I'm like, oh, this is like with music where you're like, well, no, it's not rock and roll, is it? Because it's got a drum machine in it. And you're just like, genre isn't really a thing anymore in music, is it? It's just people just do whatever they want to do. And this movie, I think, is like, this is an awful analogy, but it's like the Machine Gun Kelly of like movies. It's just like
an awful analogy.
I'm going to be a comedy for now. I'm going to be a saccharine sweet Christmas movie now. Now I'm going to be a sort of horror movie. Now I'm going to be like a grindhouse action thriller.
Action comedy. It's action comedy, but it's set at Christmas.
Action comedy. Yeah.
It's absolutely action comedy with a little bit
Christmas
of
action
crime.
comedy.
Yeah.
It's craction comedy.
Craction. You should definitely trademark that.
Christmas action. Craction. You heard it here. Probably not first. So by this stage in our podcast journey, I'm sort of assuming that everyone has watched the movie or doesn't really care about us saying too much about the movie. I think that saves us having to go spoiler alert constantly, right? We're not going to go mega into spoiler territory, but ostensibly a rich family get together on Christmas. This is the plot, no spoilers. A rich family of cartoon-like caricature characters get together on Christmas Eve, and some baddies turn up to steal some money that they think is in the house. And it's Christmas Eve, and the real actual Santa turns up. And he has to fend off the baddies, is ostensibly the story of this.
I can't believe you've summarized the plot like that and you didn't just say, it's Die Hard in a rich person's house.
Meets Home Alone.
Yeah. It's Die Hard meets Home Alone, but
meets
Santa is John McClane. To the point where they wear that so on the nose. Did you notice the first guy you meet at the house is called Al, which is obviously a name.
Oh, yeah. The cop. I actually didn't notice that, but I did notice that later on someone got like a Die Hard Blu-ray or something for Christmas.
Yeah,
and then
they did, and they also
reference Home Alone out loud before the Home Alone segment of the movie,
which we will talk about in detail.
It's like very unapologetic.
Yeah, there's a bit where they did the one of Alan Rickman's line, like John Leguizamo did it. It's
really?
It's like it's just some mall cop souped up like that. I can't remember the line, but it's a Die Hard line. I was like, that's great.
Very nice. Didn't pick up on that one.
They knew exactly what they were doing with this film.
I
only generally you've already picked up on one of the very few bugs that I had with it, because I really you can tell by my voice. Really enjoyed this. It was exactly what I call a Ron seal of a movie. It's exactly what it says on the tin. Yeah.
You cannot argue. And again, for some reason, throughout the movie, I was like fighting myself as to whether I was enjoying it or not. Like, I laughed out loud a few times. I did the sort of laugh / reaction when there's some very grisly deaths and kills in this that are very enjoyable, and then there were just some parts that I was like, this is what, come on. I mean, but in spite of myself kind of going in to watch a movie called Violent Night about a hard nut Santa, I don't know, and I was like, why can't I just enjoy it for what it is? It told you what it was going to be, and it delivered exactly that.
It is. Yeah, don't go expect. You're going to get what you're paying for with this film. But yeah, weirdly, the only times that and it didn't even annoy me. It just, like I said with Gremlins, I love when they play straight. Sometimes, you've already touched on this, the characters are so cartoonish at times. That I was like, oh, I wish they just kept down that sort of straight and narrow with them. But even then, it didn't bother me. And the only other thing that really bothered me is they had a scene in Bristol, but everyone talked like a Cockney.
Why was it in Bristol?
Fine, absolutely fine.
They couldn't employ any real English people to play those English people in
just
that scene.
even get an American to do like a Lord of the Rings Bristolian. Don't do Cockney.
I don't know what they were doing, but they should have just said it was London, and then everyone would have been like, yeah, okay, fine. Why was it Bristol? It's
I don't know,
random.
but I did like
there must
the
be a
fact that it
reason.
was I'm sure it was budget. They had a Bristol skyline, so genuinely, it must have been. It must have come down to
Do
budget.
you think that was the actual Bristol skyline? Oh, I was like, I don't know what the Bristol skyline looks like. Who does? Bristolians.
Yeah. Well, wait,
people who live in Portishead and can see it across. If you're going to do Bristol, you'd put it on the old big bridge, don't you? The Isambard Kingdom Brunel Bridge. Anyway, it was very strange that they were like, Bristol. And I was like, I wonder how this is going to play in. And then it was just totally irrelevant. It was just like, well, he's just in England, I guess, and it's far away from upstate New York or Connecticut, wherever they are.
But again, the accents aside, that scene did something for me that set the tone for the rest of the film, which I really appreciate with this film, was it doesn't fuck about. It did some really good characterization in terms of like, even for a film about that is this ridiculous, it given Santa everything you need to know about where Santa's at in his life from this first film, and it gives you a good payoff laugh. Everything's there, and I was like, okay, you set tone, you set character, and then they don't fuck around setting plot for the other side of the film. And
I think it's a solid intro to David Harbour's Santa, right? That's that opening
perfect
scene
casting
where you go
as well.
Yeah, I mean, he is great in this. He's my favorite thing about this movie for sure. And I think like that opening scene, very sort of amusing and adult, and you're like, oh, okay, good. This is not like a PG-13 Violent Night movie. And then
definitely that.
As soon as it kicks off, you're like, oh, good. This is for adults. Good. And then it gets to the sort of family stuff, and that takes a while, and then it gets so broad at times with all the family and the sort of cartoon like caricature characters where you're like, oh yeah, okay, fine, can we get to the bit where the baddies turn up quite soon, because this is I'm not sure I love this part, but then they do turn up, thankfully.
But you need that moment of calm and that moment of breath, so when it does begin, it doesn't let up.
No, I agree you need the build-up. And I think, to your point, I wouldn't have hated it if that bit had been played a little bit straighter.
Yeah, that's all I think. And again, no fault of anything. Like, I still really enjoyed the way they did it. I just think, like, there's just something lovely about a film that, just plays serious when it's so ridiculous.
Yeah.
There's touches of I can't think what the actress is called now. The main lady in Gremlins, she's an absolute stalwart of the 80s.
Phoebe Cates.
Yes, thank you.
Wow.
Well pulled out there.
Thank you. Whew.
There's my favorite bit in Gremlins now is the thing that I hated as a kid. And it's when Phoebe Cates does her little story about Santa getting stuck in the chimney, and it's really dark and really offbeat. And it's just like this flash of character that doesn't need to be in this film, but they've put in because it's so funny how out of place it is. Right. And how straight she plays it, and how suddenly she's in a completely different place to what's going on around her, but it's trauma. I love it. And John Leguizamo does that a few times in this. And I just, again, I love that. I love that level of straight, like everyone touching back to their sort of childhoods and stuff like that. I wanted more of that to an extent.
Yeah, they did bake in a lot of backstory. They made sure like everyone had a little bit of backstory, I think, didn't they? The couple that's trying to get back together, although I don't think she really got a lot to do. Alexis Lauder, she was very good in that thing recently, just to hark back to Plane with Gerard Butler, Cop Shop. She was very good in that. This she's good in, but doesn't get really much to do. The guy who plays her husband, I think, was quite amusing.
They're very, the husband and the mum, they are functional rather than anything else. So you have to create stakes but specifically for the kid, who is very good in this film. She plays
the kid is very good, actually.
She plays the perfect. All I want for Christmas is my mom and dad to be happy.
And I was like, I wasn't sure how I felt about that because it was so played like a genuine Christmas movie that isn't full of like people getting their heads smashed in by Santa. Like her whole role was just to be like, is Santa real? And I believe in him. I will say this, she did look too old to still believe in Santa. She was very good in this movie. She looked like she was probably like 10 or 11, and I thought a kid of 10 or 11 would, in this day and age, have had Santa ruined for her by now.
But that's the ultimate point, isn't it? That's always the point in the Christmas film.
Right.
Someone who believes that a little bit too long and it's seen to their detriment is proved to be right. And then the adult point of view is the thing that is
wrong,
toxic and sort of decayed. Yeah.
Oh, God. You've gone on media studies on me and I kind of like it.
But that, I mean, to skip very far ahead, what I really liked is the post-credits, the mid-credit thing. That plays into that exact sentiment.
Was that the kid?
The kid on his phone, yeah.
Oh, thank God. Okay. Because I did see that, and then I was like, the credits are rolling, and a part of me was like, should I stay till the very, very end in case there's a little comedy coda? And I didn't. But I did see that little bit where he was being
That's
annoying
very clever what
Gen
they've done.
Zedder.
Yeah, but it's great for what it's now set up the potential for a sequel to be.
What?
Yeah, it's really basic stuff. So this is a big spoiler. So it's coming at the end. Belief in Christmas magic brings Santa back because that's how Christmas magic works. Essentially saying the more people who believe, the more powerful Santa becomes. By showing this on the internet, you're setting up for a thing that instantly starts the next film with reports of this mysterious Santa at the famous rich people's house did this. Belief, belief, belief. You're essentially setting up Santa to become very powerful to fight something more bigger or powerful. So either more baddies or something supernatural. That's exactly what you've done by smashing. There's no other reason for that post-credits to be there. It's not a funny enough scene. It's not a character that you've stuck with. It's not for any other purpose than to instantly set you running for a potential sequel.
That's very interesting, Matt. I just thought it was like a little gag tacked on at the end, but you've looked at it in a very Violent Night cinematic universe way where they've very shrewdly done that. Okay, well, let's watch this space because I imagine this movie will be quite successful, and then, old Moneybags Hollywood will be like, let's have a sequel, please. And then maybe 87 North will be like, yeah, sure, we can bang these out every week these days, mate. Basically, this is our bread and butter now. We get someone who you wouldn't expect to be doing too much action, and we make them look pretty good doing action. You're welcome.
I think, but this was my revelation from John Harbour going into the MCU.
Of course, yes. He was what he was in Black Widow.
So good at brawling. As someone who would have been that sort of slick 20s fighter you see in an action film, but it's now just like not knackered, but just doesn't give a fuck is a better way of looking at it.
He takes it as good as he gives it.
It's like a pub brawler who's absolutely trained as fuck. The skills just kick in. And that's how Santa, there's we'll talk about some beautiful action sequences now, but there's the bit where he goes into the shed and he finds the hammer. What an absolute one.
It's a great setup and a great payoff. Like the Santa doesn't really have a huge backstory, but he has like a tiny bit of that. He's been alive for a very long time, and he was a Viking, as far as I think, or someone of that era. He was a hard nut back in Viking times, which is, quite a fun little backstory. And all it gives him is the excuse to be hard and that he has a secret weapon. And the second he said that, I was like, in my head, I was going, right, what is a Christmas themed object that could be used like a hammer? And then instead of, don't make it too complicated, mate, send him into a shed and have him just find a sledgehammer.
Do you know how I thought they were going to play it, but it didn't? I thought, because he told her his backstory, I thought he was going to get in a tight spot, and then she was going to ask for the hammer for Christmas, and it was going to Excalibur out of the sack. So
that would have been nice also.
But yeah, I prefer the way they've done it.
Yeah.
It's great. What a bloody
I
sequence.
enjoyed the setup and the delivery of that, because as you said, the word that you just said, actually, brawling, which was one of my key sort of thoughts during the opening sort of skirmish, I will say, where you're kind of like, oh, I thought Santa was going to be like hard in this movie, and he's basically just sort of getting his ass handed to him, and it's very brawly. Yeah. And obviously old martial arts head over here was like, I hope there's going to be some well choreographed action in this movie. Also, 87 North made it, and that is their sort of
that's their wheelhouse.
Yes, bread and butter. What's the stock and trade is the phrase I was looking for.
Bread and butter is the phrase you wanted. Stock and trade.
Come on, this is great. I'm bringing it back.
I mean, even their little animation on their logo is exactly that. Yeah,
it's a throwback to that old. Do you remember that the Stickman cartoons back in the old internet days? I don't even know where they were. They probably just sent around emails in like
Flash
player
animation.
It was Flash, of course it was. So anyway, yeah, he starts off and he's a bit brawly, and I was like, okay, I mean, this is, like it's fun. The stunt work is good. People are flying around and stuff, but I'm not getting the vibe that he's like really hard. And then they do the little tiny backstory about him having a magic hammer, and I was like, or just him having a hammer, and I was like, yes, he's gonna find a hammer and he's gonna use it to duff up a lot of bad guys. And then very, very quickly, I was like, well, I suppose we'll have to wait till he gets in a bind and then somehow the hammer come. But it was like, no, just literally 2 scenes later, mate, he's in a shed. There's a massive hammer. Let's get to skull cracking.
But this is where this film, again, its strength really lies in terms of a full experience, is they know what it is. They know how they're delivering it, but they've thought through their characters. Like you said before, everyone gets a backstory because they've thought this all through. So with David Harbour's Santa, like I said at the beginning, you know everything you need to know about where he's at from that first scene. But what's beautiful through a little bit of flashback and a little bit of Deus Ex, what is great about David Harbour's Santa is he is on the brink of quitting. He is on the sort of in the gutter. He's depressed. He doesn't believe anymore. What is great about how this film works is that they take away any option for him to do anything but confront himself by taking on everything he's supposed to be in the most twisted way. So if you watch it through the sort of lens of just action and his brawling, his first fights are clumsy and they're very on the idea that he doesn't want to fight.
Doesn't want to be there. Doesn't want to do it.
Doesn't want to do it. He just does because he's in survival mode. By the time he gives that hammer, he's almost been beaten back into understanding his whole purpose again. And the fact that even though whatever curse or whatever got him to this point, whatever it was to do with his violent past put him there, that all these things make himself. It kind of reminds me of the scene in They Live. Do you know the back alley brawl?
Yes, one of the all-time classics.
There's a beautiful essay on that brawl, a video essay, which is basically when Rowdy Roddy Piper has that fight with Keith David. There's a beautiful video essay. It basically is that people resist truth. And the truth in They Live is so big and so sort of world-changing that Keith David won't put on the glasses. It takes Rowdy Roddy Piper to physically beat him into submission in order for him to accept the truth and physically have his eyes opened. And I love that. It's a really good characterization. And in a weird way, that's what they do with Santa's character in this. He has to be put through the absolute ringer for him to see what he needs to do, not only in this moment, but in general. And he's so lost everything. This is his like redemption. And I love that as a subtle undertow in something that is so nuts that they put that level of character arc into something that absolutely didn't need it. They could have easily been one of those B movies that flew by on its gimmick, but they went, no, what do we know about Christmas films? What are the big ones? Die Hard, Home Alone, Hallmark. Bam. That's our stable. Let's give these characters justice. Let's give them something to fight for, and let's put them through it, and let's hit every cheesy beat on the way. And it was just a roller coaster in that way.
And it does just sort of juggle from, I think, you are right. It does have more characterization than arguably it I don't want to say deserves. Like, they've done well to give it, more than it maybe needed. I've seen lots of people sort of saying this could be like a fake trailer on a movie site like 10 years ago. Like,
it could have been in one of the Grindhouse trailers that all the directors did in the middle. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And I think it is nice that he gets that bit of backstory. I think like John Leguizamo's backstory feels like a bit forced. Like he's had some Christmas trauma. Like not everyone needs a Christmas thing, And they do sort of like, it's like, well, okay, he hates Christmas for this reason and, blah, blah, blah.
That they're not playing into him as his character there. They're playing into the tropes of that character in every film. Like the boss who couldn't find Christmas and all that stuff. Like one of two things always happens in the film. Their heart is either open to Christmas and they're redeemed, or they continue to, like, it's on the nose, they continue to Scrooge and so they aren't redeemed.
Fight against Santa, literally.
Yeah, literally they have to be defeated by it because they can't exist with it. It's like really, like, it's not of this movie, it's of that genre. And I love that they've
it leans into all of those genres so unapologetically, like you say. There's the Die Hard, there's the oddly saccharine Christmas stuff, which as much as I'm kind of like was like, is this, do we need, it did like pull on my heartstrings a little bit. I was like, why does this make water just trickle out of my eyes? There's too much.
But again, they've played on every beat of it, and they've done it in an incredible way. That they've given it to one of the worst families that they possibly could. In the same way that Knives Out did the same. They took some of the worst people and they forced you to care for them in a way that you don't really want to. Like, and there's the family. Like, again, we talked about them being big characters, but they play it so well. Beverly D'Angelo,
yes, from National Lampoon.
Yeah, great seeing her in a role that she could just be an absolute shit with.
Right, she just chews the scenery in this movie.
Yeah, absolutely. And like one of my favourite jokes in this entire film, Gertrude. What a great joke. Just really good writing. But again, to take that family and like make them so horrible and so nasty, and then have that whole Christmas message even hit them, that they have to all believe at the end. And it is Santa in Central Park in Elf. It's that moment.
It is 100% that, isn't it? Yeah. And that bit of Elf gets me every time. And this to that same point was just like, come on, Simon, you're better than that. Hold it together.
But again, it's the music, it's the setting.
It's Christmas, isn't it?
It's Christmas.
It's Christmas.
I'm not a big Christmas person, but I love a Christmas film. I absolutely love a Christmas film.
Well, I think to some extent, this is sort of destined to become a cult Christmas classic, isn't it?
100%.
Like, it's got cult Christmas classic written all over it. Like, what's not to love? I mean, don't go in expecting high art. It is. I enjoyed it in spite of myself. And I think if you have just a touch more humanity than my tortured soul, you will almost certainly enjoy it. I think as an action movie, it is good. It's not a great action movie. It's got fun beats in it.
It's an action comedy, but the big scenes, the big action scenes, they're choreographed, and they're choreographed well. They're done.
Yeah, I mean, all the action is well executed. The hammer stuff, while I was excited as it started, I did realize it just sort of quickly devolved into, it's just stupid faceless goons in a dark warehouse running at Santa and being dispatched one at a time. It reminded me of like all of the trailers for Indian movies that we've watched, where like just one guy doing a rubbish kick makes someone flip over 100 times in the background. It wasn't that bad. It was nicely executed in that sort of textbook 87 North way.
So this is what I loved about it. Really weirdly, that was my opposite, because when it started to get into the swing of it, and he brought out his list and he went, "Oh, there's 6 left." I was like, "Oh, that's not enough for him to kill." And they found a way to just essentially allow him to
double
have
the
that.
bad guy count. That's true.
Yeah.
I did enjoy when there was suddenly a lot more baddies, because it didn't. I was like, well, he's already killed like 2 guys in the first 20 minutes. It's not going to be fun if he just stalks them around like Metal Gear Solid and does up one, and then he's suddenly like, oh, thank goodness, there's 20 more bad guys that arrived. But I think one of my only other, and complaints just sounds stupid, because like, what am I complaining about in this movie that does exactly what the movie should do? But all the bad guys are so stupid. Like, they're supposedly like ex-military, like a highly trained murder squad, and they all just like line up to get murdered by him.
They're not that. They set this up to not be that. She sets it up as that, but they're set up entirely different. The moment they take away on those skidoos, they just show everything there is about them. They're adrenaline. They're the people who get in the boat in Jaws and start throwing dynamite in the water. Right. They're instantly that. They're not a slick team. They're not a rebel. Their leader is calculated, and he's done his homework, and he proves to be that. His men are young, young, dumb, full of cum, that old cliche, without the training. Yeah.
So these are all just the people who worked on the Death Star that were inadvertently murdered, is what you're saying? Like, we shouldn't be rooting for him to murder all these poor young soldiers.
They're just like, they go in
They're
there
a hapless criminal organization.
Yeah, but again, they do that thing where they give them enough even on the little things where they show them the error of their ways. Like, there's a few kills where you see it on their faces. They go, "Oh no, I was supposed to do this to them." It's really nice little detailing. Like, it's great. It's really great. Yeah, I could talk about this for hours. Generally, I get it, and I don't have a lot of complaints with it. But that was I wanted to see Santa have a better adversary than 12 faceless military operatives that couldn't shoot him, even though there were 3 of them and they had him surrounded. They were just like, right, just let him kill those 3. Send in the next 3 to sort of get quite close to him with their guns drawn, so he can hammer them up a bit, and then we'll send 3 more in. And I was like, but they
come
don't
on,
do that.
he could do like a trap, he could do a cool trap, he could do something. I know I'm being a little bit harsh, but I think
you are being harsh,
slightly fair also.
They do the cool traps, which is the only other scene that needs to be talked about. But the Home Alone parody
the Home Alone
is
scene.
so fucking good. Like, laugh out loud funny. And
I mean, this is literally, to speak about this movie could have been like a fake trailer in the past. The Home Alone section is like the Corridor Crew, we made Home Alone R-rated video made into an actual movie.
It's so good.
You can't hate it, because it is, they tell you what it's going to be, and then they deliver exactly that.
It's brilliant.
The girl says, "I've watched Home Alone, so I'm going to set up traps."
Yeah.
You're like, well, I mean, I can't complain about it. And then the traps do the actual damage that would have been done to the guys in Home Alone had it not been a PG-rated comedy film.
It's brilliant. Yeah, really, really good.
It is completely ridiculous, but also very funny.
You got action replay?
Whew.
I've got 2.
Okay, you shoot yours out, and meanwhile, I'll play the jingle and think.
So just for coolness, there's a very cool moment where he kicks up his hammer and gets some momentum to it. And it's a move that's been done in a lot of action films, and they've clearly put it in there to go, imagine Santa does that move. And it's absolutely the right instinct, whoever made that creative choice. It is perfect for that film, and I absolutely loved it. But my absolute action replay, something that was set up all throughout the film to the point where I realised just before it happened that it had to happen.
With how John Leguizamo gets
The guy is killed.
dispatched.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is a big spoiler, so if you're generally this far, well, you're in it now. They're having a fight, and it's not even in a ruin, but for some reason there's an outside chimney. And as soon as I see that, I'm like...
You're like, I know what's going to happen.
Absolutely, he's going to use that, but how is he going to use that for the fight? It's perfect. He literally is about to be killed. He holds John Leguizamo, uses his Santa magic to go up the chimney. Unfortunately for John, he didn't have no Santa magic.
He hasn't got the magic.
He literally gets folded in two and loses bits of himself. And it's just perfect. It's perfect.
It's the sort of geyser of blood that comes out of the top that I was like, fair play, actually. Fair play.
The only other time I've ever seen a kill like that with that sort of geyser of blood was in Cabin in the Woods when the mermaid eats. It was that exact same visceral, oh my God, you've done everything to earn this absolutely ridiculous amount of blood. And I loved it. I absolutely loved it.
Very good kill / laugh out loud moment. I'm going to go for, maybe I'll have two then if we're having two. The first, Santa, kills a guy with the star from a Christmas tree.
Great.
But the actual moment, he stabs him with it, and you're like, oh, that's pretty funny. And then there's a little sort of extra, pun intended, button on it where you don't notice, you just think it's a loose star, but it turns out it's still plugged in. And I think you probably know what happens, but that made me laugh. Yeah. And then the first bit of the Home Alone homage where he starts climbing up the stairs.
He spots the booby trap as well.
It's absolutely horrific, but it is very, very funny.
So on that,
we've just picked all the ways, and I think this speaks to what the whole movie is about, is the amusing ways people are dispatched by Santa. None of my favorite bits were him killing 12 guys with a hammer, I guess. Like, that speaks to that part. While I enjoyed it for what it was not memorable enough. Although there are two guys at the end that are sort of mulched up, which is
There's a whole
which is fun.
Candy cane sigh that he makes.
Oh, that's right. Yeah,
great.
Okay.
There's so many good bits.
Maybe this. I enjoyed that in retrospect more than I thought.
Simon is beaming right now. I think Christmas just found your heart.
I do like a good Christmas movie, and this is a good Christmas movie. There's no doubt about it. It's great. It has got something for everyone. However, probably not for the more squeamish amongst you, because it is extremely bloody.
It's
but
great.
In a sort of funny way.
It's great.
I don't know how to sell that. It's not like horror levels of blood.
Yeah, it is. It's like evil. It's like Evil Dead 2.
Yes, it's Evil Dead 2 before it's The Night Comes for Us.
Yeah,
it's not like people having their things snapped and twisted in a way. It's more of a funny way. Yeah. I'm not doing it justice. I think it's fair to say we both enjoyed it, and I think for a December Christmas themed episode, this has been the absolute perfect movie.
100%. I will be watching it again.
Before we go, Matthew, you've not been here. Not been here for a few episodes, and these little fellas have been getting dusty on the shelf. It's my Games Room action movie trivia set that I got for my birthday last year, which is almost exactly 1 year ago. Let's go!
Oh, God.
Who directed Kingsman: The Secret Service?
I've no idea.
Oh,
I've never watched it.
Haven't you?
No. I think I'd really enjoy it, yeah.
I think, again, like we've had in the past, you will get this through process of elimination. So I'll tell you the four options.
Go on, then.
Michael Mann, Jon Favreau, Joe Russo, or Matthew Vaughn.
Matthew Vaughn?
It's Matthew Vaughn.
Yeah.
He's got it.
Yeah.
He's got it.
Yeah.
I think Kingsman: Secret Service is good. I haven't seen the sequel nor the threequel.
I think I'd really enjoy. I think I It's just...
I think you would. It's got enough of the sort of Guy Ritchie archness, but without over egging it. And it's got some pretty solid action in it also, TBH.
Yeah. I keep
and some
to
quite questionable humour that doesn't really work on repeat viewings, I would say. But if you can overlook that, pretty fun. Now, Matthew, it's almost time to go. People can find you on all the well-known social medias, the Twitters, the Instagrams,
TikToks these days.
He's on TikTok as well.
Been loading
what are you
all my
on
videos
TikTok?
into there. Just Matt Titan, yeah.
Finally, he got Matt Highton.
Where are you on the socials, Simon?
That was great. That sounded so unplanned. I am at Simon Fielder on Twitter and Instagram. And of course, important to note, also on Mastodon, which may be out of date by the time this goes out. But I did make quite an in-depth YouTube video about Mastodon in the last couple of weeks, which maybe you'd like to watch because it's quite nerdy, but it's also amusing. It's sort of like this podcast if it was about tech, if you will. So go and check that out on my YouTube channel.
Well, there you go. I'm glad you're putting stuff on YouTube. You're very good at it.
Thank you. Let's hope
a while.
All of the thousands of people who listen to this will go and watch that video, and I'll be able to tell because they tell you how many people watch them, don't they, these days? So yeah, you can find my YouTube channel, which is, I don't think it's not Simon Fielder, it's Kid Capricorn. Just bloody Google it, mate. Or our websites, matthighton.co.cz and Simon Fielder .nl space.ie.
Let's just fade out. I think fade out there.
Should have faded out ages ago, actually, shouldn't we? Fingers crossed we'll be back before the new year with a sort of wrap-up episode if we can find time. I'm excited to hear the best of the year.